Okay, so this is my first little video of a lesson in painting your kitchen cabinets. Let me start it off by saying that I have watched probably thousands of videos, thousands of hours worth of videos on Facebook and YouTube and all sorts of stuff on this. And my one conclusion that I've come to is that there's really no one right way to do this. Everybody kind of does what they do. So this is just what I do. So first I took all my cabinets, the fronts off of them, and I washed them with Dawn dish soap to try to get all the grease and oil and just gunk that's on them off, because you don't want to be sanding that. You don't want to be sanding that and getting it ground into your cabinets even more. So wash them really good with soap and water. I prefer Dawn. Then you're going to bring your cabinets outside, the fronts of them. Don't forget you're going to need to do this on the inside, on the part, like the actual cabinet itself. So you're taking just the fronts outside. We have a gnat problem here today. So I use my little mouse sander on them, and then I also use just a regular piece of sandpaper to get in like the corners and the grooves. I saved this little spot right here to show you guys. You don't need to do a lot. I use a 120 grit. So the lower the number, like a 60, 80 grit, that's like really gritty, and you're gonna just wipe the whole finish off of them, and you don't want to use something that abrasive. So the 120 seems to be good. I'm gonna show you real quick. As you can see, there's, I don't know what that is, paint or tea or something. So even though I had washed these, whatever that was didn't come off, but now it's gone. It might have had some sort of oil in it or something, which would have caused it to bleed through later and all. So now it's gone. So wash them with Dawn dish soap. Sand them a little bit. It is kind of a pain to sand them, but you know, like I said, get in the corners there. Then you're going to want to take this stuff. I use Dixie Belle products. We have a little retailer here in Oxford where I live. And she sells Dixie Belle. This is called White Lightning. I bought this container last year, and I paint fairly frequently, a couple pieces a week, and I've done most of my cabinets, and that's all I've used. So what you do is you take just a tablespoon of this, 2 tablespoons, and you dissolve it in a gallon of hot water. So I just used an old milk carton, mixed it all up, got it in there, and then as I need, I just refill into a spray bottle, and I'm on my final, I've used the whole gallon now after I've finished this. So it's been a full year, and I have only used, the 2 tablespoons. So this stuff will last forever. But this is a TSP cleaner. I think you can get TSP cleaners like at Lowe's or somewhere. But I like to support my friend in her business, and I really like all these Dixie Belle products. So again, White Lightning. So I'm wearing a glove because with this stuff, you don't want to get it on your skin. So I've got a couple of them over here that I've already sanded. And this is really easy. You're just gonna spray it. Oops, I gotta open my sprayer, keep it shut so my kids don't get into it. You're just gonna spray them down, get them fairly wet. Now look, I sanded that, but I can still see some red on there, but hopefully it won't be a problem. Prepping is like the most important thing though, because if you have any grease or oil or something on your cabinets, or just dirt, it's gonna affect your paint, and you're gonna go to all this trouble and do all this work, and then it's just going to chip off or peel off. So spray it down really good, let it sit for a minute, and this stuff will kind of, if you don't sand your cabinets or your furniture or whatever it is you're doing, this stuff will give it a little bit of grittiness. Now look, that's probably sanding dust, but it's probably funk that's still on them too, especially around where the handles go. Clean that really good. So I'll wipe this whole thing down, get them really clean. I'll probably go ahead and spray them a second time and just like let it sit. I don't like to do this stuff on my concrete. I don't know what it's going to do to it. That's why I'm in my driveway over here and near my husband's boat, because I don't really care about what it does to that. But spray them down really good. Let it kind of sit there and do the work for a minute. Scrub it off, and then you want to rinse this stuff off really well. If this was a piece of furniture, I would just keep using wet rags and wiping it and cleaning it. But since it's my cabinets and they're small, I'll actually probably go ahead and just dunk them in my bathtub real quick, or use the hose on them since I'm outside, and just spray them down real quick, and then I'll dry them with a towel and let them sit out here in the sun and air dry for a little bit, but they don't really absorb moisture. They won't, you know, these are solid wood, so they're not gonna swell up and, you know, get ruined. But anyway, so that's part one, prep and cleaning. So clean them, sand them, clean them again, and then we'll move on to painting. Alrighty, so I've moved inside and I've got my paint set up now. So for me, I like to paint, you know, on a table. Sometimes I go on the floor. I have little wheels that I put furniture on and stuff. But for cabinets, I have found the best thing to be egg cartons. They're really sturdy. They keep it up off the table. So it's really easy to get the sides and not, you know, have it getting all over your, whatever's underneath your towel. So again, I'm using the Dixie Belle products. I really love them. I've tried other products that I got at Michael's. I tried some that I got at Lowe's and at Walmart, and they were not that great. Once I tried Dixie Belle, I had a friend tell me about it. I loved them so much. So, as I said earlier, my friend in Oxford at the Treasure Chest, it's called, she ended up getting on board and becoming a retailer and selling Dixie Belle products, which is amazing because she's not that far from me, so I can zip down there and get it. Before that, I was having to order on Amazon. So if you guys do end up painting your cabinets or furniture or whatever you know, have projects for, definitely contact the Treasure Chest in Oxford because she will ship, or you can go pick up once this whole COVID-19 stuff is out of here. But anyway, so with chalk paint, which is what Dixie Belle is, it can get dried out sometimes if you leave it open for a long time. So what I love about that though, or not dried out, but it just gets like thick. You can actually, I bought this little water squirter thing on Amazon for a few bucks. It's a mister. Can you see it coming out? You can mist into the thing, into the can, and it'll kind of thin it back out a little bit. And I use like popsicle sticks to stir. I find them to be very effective. So this is my blue that I'm going to be using. Now, if I was going to be doing a lighter color like a white, which I have done on my upper cabinets, you don't want to jump into painting immediately. You want to use a primer because a thin color, or maybe not light color, is going to potentially, you're going to have bleed through coming through. So you'll have like, especially in spots where maybe you sanded, if you have darker cabinets, the tannins from the wood are going to bleed through and you'll end up with like brown streaks in your paint. It's really ugly. So this stuff is called Boss. Again, it's Dixie Belle. And as you can see, it blocks odors, stains, and stops bleed through. So you would put a coat of this on, let it dry for, I don't even know, it might even say it on here. I would just let it dry for like a half hour or so. Sometimes I'll take a hairdryer to it to make it go faster. Put a second coat on, and usually that's plenty. Sometimes one coat's enough, but usually I do 2 coats, and then you can go ahead and do your painting. So, but I'm not using that right now because I'm going to be doing a darker color, so I'm not worried about bleed through. But if you have a piece of furniture that you're doing that's like somebody, you got it from somebody, they were smokers and it's smelly, you know, that Boss stuff will help with that. So I'm just getting this stirred up good because it's been a while since I used it. And then I usually use my brush, but I only have one hand. So what I normally do too, to keep it from getting thick, because sometimes chalk paints can get kind of thick and pull, mist your brush a little bit, both sides. And I mist my brush like every 2 or 3 times I dip it in the paint. So now comes the fun part. Dip it in there. You don't need much. I don't know all the numbers, but this paint goes really far. It can cover so many square feet. I don't know, like whatever. Anyway, so just have at it. And I love, this is the Dixie Belle brush. I love their angled, it's a mini brush, so it's got a shorter handle, so it doesn't, you can get into tight spaces, but the angle of it, hopefully you can see, I'm trying to look through the camera. You can get, like, see into the corner there. If I had a flat brush, it would be really hard to get in there, but because it's not flat, I can. So you can see some of the cabinet kind of coming through still, so I'm definitely going to need 2 coats of this. But it dries really quickly in a matter of about, and see, having the water on there has it kind of, stretches it a little bit too. It probably will dry in about 15 minutes or so. So by the time I finish this one and move on to another one, this one will be dry, and I can always, trying to let you see everything I'm doing. I can always get the hairdryer out and speed it up. So once I get this painted, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look through the camera and in real life so I know what I'm doing. But there's really no rhyme or reason to the pattern I go here. Just get the paint on there and go for it. Then we'll do a fun, ooh. Oh gosh, I'm globbing it on. And if it starts to get like sticky on here, you know what else you can do? Hold on. You can get your mister and you mist. Just spray the actual thing and it, look at that. It just softens it right back up and it's not sticky. I know you guys can't like feel this because you're not the ones painting, but maybe you could tell it was getting a little like dry on me. If it's really warm out, sometimes that happens faster. But there you go. So I'm going to keep on painting. I'm going to do 2 coats so that I have good coverage, make sure I've got everything. I'm going to do both sides, and then I'm going to do the sealer, which is called gator hide, and that stuff is awesome. So I'll see y'all later. All right, so we're on to phase 3, which is going to be sealing the cabinets. I've gone ahead and painted 2 coats of the, I never did say what color it was. It's called Yankee Blue, this beautiful blue color. So I put 2 coats on there. Everything looks good. I don't see any of the original cabinet coming through. So now I'm going to seal them with this stuff. It's called gator hide. This stuff is, you know, kind of like an alligator skin. It's a natural armor, it says. It's water repellent, so you don't want to ever shake this. You always want to stir it because some of it can settle. Now, if you were doing just like plain white cabinets or a lighter color, you could just apply the gator hide directly. It's best not really to ever dip your brush or your sponge, I'll show you how that works, into it and then onto your piece, because sometimes the chalky color that you're using does kind of get on your brush a little bit, and you can actually kind of tint your gator hide. So it's best to pour it out. But when you're doing a dark color, sometimes it tends to be a little streaky, which is kind of frustrating. So the best way to combat that is to put just a drop or 2 of your color into a bowl. Pour your gator hide in there. Try not to make a mess, which I am. It's all dripping everywhere. Oh shoot, I grabbed the wrong side of my thing. It's all over my fingers. Okay, and then mix this up. So this will dye your gator hide, and it will really help prevent streaking. And this stuff is pretty like sticky. So when you apply it, you want to just put it on and pretty much one swoop, maybe another one back over it, just so it's not like too thick and globby, and you want to put on a nice thin layer of it. But if you try to go over it back and forth a million times, it's going to get really sticky, and then you're going to have horrible streaks. So less is more. If you notice that you missed a spot, just let it dry and you'll go over it again. You probably want to do 2 to 3 coats, especially if you're going to be doing it on kitchen cabinets. 3 coats for sure, or at least that's my opinion. Now, this finish is a little bit like kind of gritty and chalky. I don't know if anybody's ever painted with chalk paint before, but you'll know what I mean. So chalk paint's a little gritty. You totally can use these 3M pads, and I don't do that on these, but sometimes on furniture I do. Just, you know, obviously you take it out of the package, but rub it on there and it'll make it really soft like butter. It's really cool. It's really smooth. So you can do that if you want to, but it's not really necessary. So with the cabinets, this is the back side of them. On the front side, the more decorative side, I will probably use a brush. That way I can get into those little cracks. But on the back, it's really not necessary. I can just use my lovely sponge. You can tell I've used it a lot. So do like we do with painting and just kind of start out with it. Just mist it a little bit. Oops, you can't really see what I'm doing. Just spraying a little bit of water. You don't want too much. I always spray it and then kind of wipe it off and even kind of dab it. Now, I'm going to dip it in here. Again, just a really thin coat. I'm going to go over it like once, maybe twice, and then I'm just going to leave it. You don't want to glob it on there, but if you miss spots, just let it be, because you'll be going over it again and you don't want it to start pulling and sticking. So hopefully all will go well. Oops. So just a little, let it kind of drip off and clean it off a little bit. So see, it's really not much at all. And this will last me a good bit. All right. And actually, you know what? I'm kind of doing this wrong. It's best to start like in the center and work your way out to each edge. Oops. Okay, there we go. Let's see how shiny it is. So, all right. There we go. So I can see a little extra right here. And then like I missed this edge, I'm just gonna go along the edge, and you can see it's already starting to dry. That second swipe right there, do you see how it looks dry? I'm not gonna touch that again because it's gonna get sticky and it's gonna pull and it's gonna look terrible. So I'm just gonna leave it. So now I'm gonna do this side here and this side here, but this makes it really fast. If you can use this brush, or I mean this sponge instead of a brush, it goes much more quickly. So that's about it. When I do finish with this coat, you should probably let it dry for like an hour or two in between coats. Again, you can take a little sanding pad, like a 220 grit sanding pad or sandpaper. And if you do see some like hazy spots or weird streaks, you can sand it out a little bit and just wipe it off, you know, get all the dust off, and then go ahead and do another coat of gator hide. I try not to do that if I can avoid it, just because it's another step and it's a pain, but it's definitely a way to fix any issues you might have. So hopefully this has all been helpful, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact me and I can try to help. I'm not really an expert, I'm still learning myself, but this is everything that I've learned so far.